a little honeybee.
Hi, this is Harold with Lanier Bee Barn, and today we're going to show you how easy it is to transfer a nuke from a nuke box into either an 8-frame or 10-frame box. And transferring a nuke in is probably the simplest process. It's a lot easier than dealing with a package. Look for our other video on installing a package if that's what you have. But we'll see today how easy that is. Now we've got a smoker already lit. If you hadn't seen our smoker video, I encourage you to watch that. You may need the smoke. If not, then we'll see how the bees are today. They may be just fine. So we will start by opening the hive. Open it slowly. You don't want to startle the bees. You don't want snap, crackle, pop kind of stuff going on. But we've got a bunch of bees. The first thing you need to do is look at your inner part of your lid. You're looking for pests or any kind of problems that you might see there. And I have found the queen several times running on the lid. So don't think it can't happen, because I have found it and I have pictures of it. So we're going to knock these bees off just a little bit. Now basically, it's as simple as transferring these 5 frames into this box. So a couple things of note. First of all, we always want to keep the frames in the same order that they are in the box. Second thing is I like to keep the front where the frames are relative to the front of the hive to the front of the box that you're going to transfer them into, because the bees like to orient in that regard. Here we've got an 8-frame box. It'll be the same thing with a 10. But to make life easy, I'll usually take at least 1 frame out so that I've got a little bit of working room. Now, I'm going to start with the easiest frame, one of the outer 2 frames, whichever one looks like it would be the easiest to remove. So this one we can remove with no problem. There's no comb built up on this side. There is a little bit on that one. So we're going to start with this one. And now is a good time to do an inspection as we go. So on this frame you can see that they've started drawing it out just a little bit. There's a little fuzz, but there's not much there yet. There's no real comb built out. So they're beginning to work that one. So we're going to just put it there in this order. And see what we got on our second frame. This one's got a lot of purples. Alright. So now we've got a bunch of beautiful cap brood. This brood is probably going to explode in about a week, less than a week probably, about 5 days or so. And we look on this side, and we've got some beautiful cells built out full of eggs. I don't know if we can get close enough to be able to see eggs in there. But we've got some eggs here and there. And the girls are putting a little nectar away on that side. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay, this is beautiful. So we've had a hatch. This entire frame is hatched already, and you can see in there where she's backfilled with eggs and the larva has emerged, and so it's just full of what we call milk brood now. Beautiful stuff. Check this side. Some more nice cap stuff. Now I get a call and phone calls and texts and stuff, and people say, is this what I'm seeing on the bottom? Are these queen cells? Well, first of all, this extra comb that's built out from the frame is basically a ladder. They use it because down in the box below this is a gap about that much, you know, an inch, around an inch and a quarter, where they can't reach from the bottom board all the way to the frame. So they're just building a bridge. So a lot of people want to cut that off. I like to leave it because else they'll waste time building again. Now here we have what's called a queen cup. This is just simply a start of what could be a queen cell someday, but for the most part they just seem to want to practice building cups in random places. So in looking at this, my bees are really calm, nothing's going on. I've seen a few drones. We haven't spotted our queen just yet, but this is another wonderful frame. So notice that I'm putting these frames pretty much in the center of the colony, of the new box that they're going into. I don't want to push them over to one side. We want to put them in the center, and then we're going to put our empty frames on either side. Alright, so the same thing here. If you can get close in there, those eggs just everywhere. Beautiful. Alright, so again at this point I don't see anything bad going on. All I see is good stuff. Look in the center, can you see in the middle? Lots of milk brood. So this will probably get capped over in another 3 or 4 days. So this is hatched, that whole center part is hatched because we can see that we still see some remnants of brood here that hasn't hatched just yet. So the queen's going to lay kind of in a spiral pattern and working her way out. And once that hatches, then she goes back in the center and lays again. So at this point I have not spotted her. Doesn't mean she's not going to be on one of those frames, because sometimes I got to go back 2 or 3 times to find her. Alright, last frame, and this one is really heavy with lots of food resources, lots of bees. You see a few drones scattered around. Here's a big fat drone. Lots of pollen. You see all the pollen in there, and nectar. And when they dry it out enough, they'll cap it, and then it'll be good forever. Alright, so if we look on this side, we see the royal lady herself. Can y'all spot her before I point her out? There she is right there. And she's doing her job. She's been laying eggs. She's looking right now for a new place to lay. Since we found our queen, we're going to take an opportunity to mark her now. So I use a queen catcher typically, just so that I can set this frame down and do it easily. Otherwise I'll just pluck her off with my fingers most of the time. So we're going to go ahead and catch her right now. Alright, so we can now set this aside. We're going to put our frame back in. And also add our extra frames. Now, what I want to do now is get the rest of these bees out of here and move the hive back to its original spot. Now you'll never get all the bees out. You don't have to worry. But we're going to set our new box right where that old one was. And then I'm going to set that underneath there. So those bees eventually, they'll find their way back up and join their nest mates there at some point. Alright, so let's see about marking this girl. I use a paint pen. This is actually an actual paint pen. It's not a magic marker. You can get a paint pen from, obviously, this brand name. You can get them from Sharpie, but be sure that it is an actual paint pen. So it's got a little marble or ball bearing in there. We'll shake it up, and when you dab the tip, the paint will flow. But here's a pro tip for you. Before you get ready to mark, you want to always dab off any excess. If you don't, when you apply that, it's just going to just splash all over her and obviously make a mess and maybe even damage her to the point that she can't be productive. Alright, so now we've got our paint pen handy. It's ready to go.
Why are you choosing that color for?
Right. Well, paint, there are 5 different international colors recognized for paint, painting a queen, and that has to do with their age. Anything that ends in the number 2 or the number 7 will get a yellow color. Last year's color was white. Prior to that, you might have red, green, and blue. So those 5 colors are specific to a year. Now, I don't necessarily mark my queens so that I can see them, although it does make them easier to see. But the main reason I mark mine is to know how old they are. So when I see a yellow one, I know that she's this year's queen. If I see a white one, she was last year's queen. So at some point, the queens become less and less effective. In other words, their sperm may have been used up, or the sperm might not have been viable, or she might not have been mated extremely well. So after about 2 years or so, you can get 2 good years out of most queens, and then pretty soon after that, they may start fading in their efficacy. And you'll start seeing them laying a lot of drone brood at that point, and you'll know for sure it's time to replace her. So knowing how old she is can help you with that kind of decision. Alright, so now that we've got our color for our appropriate year, we're going to try to find our queen. Now, all the girls here really like this. Now, with these queen catchers, it's basically like a queen excluder. The workers can come and go through that, but the queen cannot. Now, anytime you do this, you want to do this over your hive. Alright, do not do it over here out in the open, because she's liable to jump out and run away, and then you got a problem trying to catch her. So, alright. So let's see if we can get her to come out.
3 hours later.
Okay. Now the way she's fluttering her wings, this girl could take off at any time. She wouldn't be able to get very, very far, but we don't want her to get away. So we're going to mark her thorax. You see how that there's a lot of paint. Going to give her a good dab of paint. We'll blow it till it gets dry. And then I've got to tuck her head in. Oops. Tuck her head in. Alright, there you go. There she went. So that's why you do it over the hive and not over out in the middle of the bee yard. So that's all there is to marking a queen. Now that we've got her marked, we've got our nuke transferred. Everything looked good on all our frames. We had no issues to deal with. We're going to add our inner cover. And our outer cover. And that's pretty much it. That's all there is to installing the nuke. Nukes are very easy, take no time at all. We took a lot more time as we try to explain a lot of stuff to you, but other than that, transferring a nuke into your new home is very simple. Again, this is Harold with Lanier Bee Barn. Hope you enjoyed it.